A very warm welcome to this absolute one wonderful useful event that brings us together so many peoples like you. So cool that we are super excited to having you here. And you can guess that excited about all the amazing sessions that we're gonna learn today. Well, for the fourth consecutive time, the GitHub Community Sri Lanka proudly to present the OpenHackDay Sri Lanka 2021. Never be afraid to try something new because life gets boring when you stay within the same things. That's why this year we will get something curious from winning something along with your Hacktober swings. So, today we're gonna plan about getting started open source which is easy and level up their project much smarter with GitHub. Firstly, with immense With immense pleasure to welcome such stars, our keynote speakers and open source enthusiasts, GitHub campus experts who are Mr. Ahmed Safnat, software engineer at Arimak Technology. Next, Mr. Dilam De Silva, software engineer at Circles Life, and Isaru Abhayawardena, Sri Lanka first GitHub campus expert, and also software engineer. They all are going to give a great intro about the Open Hack Day and the open source software. And especially in the end of the sessions, we have Q&A sessions which will help you to clear all your doubts. Before getting this event, let me remind you one thing that if you have any suggestions, clarifications, or questions, just raise your hand or feel free to ask your questions in the chat box. And please be kind enough to keep your mic muted. Trust me, this event is not gonna be boring, and I hope this evening you will learn so many new things up to your skills. So let's start our sessions and Mr. Ahmad Safnat, we are excited to take over these sessions.
So, hello everyone. Hope you can hear me, right? All right. So, before going to the session, can I have some emojis in the chat from the audience? Something like where do you join from your campus and make us motivated. Avin Indrasoma Shanjadu. Hi. Okay. We are really excited about this today's event, right? So, let me share my screen. All right. So today we are here about to talk about this Hacktoberfest and the Open Hack Day stuffs, right? So even though this event is named it as Open Hack Day, it's regarding this Hacktoberfest, which is happening around the world during this October month, right? So this is our fourth consecutive event that we are doing in Sri Lanka. So, so before going to this topic, let me introduce myself first. So I'm Safnaj. I'm a GitHub campus expert from Sri Lanka, and I'm currently working as a software engineer at Arimac, and I have graduated from SLWIT. These are some other communities that I'm being a part of. And here you have my social links. If you get any queries, you can always ping me anytime. So that's all about my story. So let me give an introduction about this today event outline. So first, I will be talking about this. What is this Open Hack Day, and why we are doing this, and the importance of contributing to open source. Then we have our fellow campus experts who will be covering this version controlling stuffs and how you can contribute and how you can find good projects on GitHub. And we have something awesome this year. And if you are a student, there is something special for you. So I used to explain about this program as usual in every events because there is a myth about this campus expert program among the students. So people thinks like GitHub campus experts are only there to promote Git and GitHub, and they are only there to do this GitHub related stuff. So actually it's not like that. So GitHub education have a subdivision called like, they have a lot of programs, something like teachers, they have some programs for teachers. So GitHub campus expert is one of the main program of GitHub educations, where they empower students communities using these campus expert as community leaders. So here it's not about promoting Git and GitHub or doing only Git related events. It's all about building communities and take care of the community that you have created. So even GitHub is owned by Microsoft, you can do events something like Google related topics. So as a students, we may struggle to do the events, right? I'm not talking about this virtual event. If it is a in-person event, we may face a lot of difficulties, starting from the budget, and we have to prepare the um, lot of materials. Definitely we have to give swags for the audience, right? So GitHub what does is, during this throughout this program, they're helping students to, they are something like they're funding for the your events. They will send some swags for you and lot of stuff. So here we have the program link. If you want to be a part of this amazing program, you can go ahead and apply. So currently we have 8 campus experts from Sri Lanka, and we talk like, why don't we form a community? So we started this GitHub Community Sri Lanka to organize something related to GitHub, which means like if GitHub is doing some events, something like GitHub Universe, we will be hosting the watch party in Sri Lanka, and we used to support some students programs in Sri Lanka as well. And Israel is the first one who started this campus expert journey from Sabragamo, and you can see that the team has grown, right? So that's all about the program. Here you have our community social handles. Make sure you follow any of the platform that you are comfortable with. So let me remind you the hashtags for the today's event. So it is you can use these hashtags to publish something on social medias, because GitHub education is much active on social medias. They monitoring students and students projects stuff. So if you are tweeting about this event, or if you are sharing any experience about this event, make sure to use these hashtags. So it's time to talk about this Open Hack Day and why. So it is named it as Open Hack Day, right? So anyone here to hack your friends Facebook or your friend Gmail? If yes, this is not the program for that. So here we are going to hack the Hacktoberfest with your pull request. That's about this Open Hack Day. So Open Hack Day is, we are doing this is for the fourth consecutive time, as I said previously. So there is a competition going happening around the world, which is Hacktoberfest. So Hacktoberfest is a month-long celebration of open source software, where contributors get the opportunity to give back contributions to the open source projects. So during this month, many open source organizations, something like the largest from the smallest, Microsoft to Fosasia, all the open source organization will be encourage contributors to contribute to open source projects. That means they will uh, even open their private repositories in public, and they will create some issues on that. If you are able to solve those issues, they will send some dedicated some extra gifts for you. So DigitalOcean is the one who initiated this, and every year they partner up with some other communities, other companies, something like this year they partner up with Intel, Upright, and DeepSource. So as I said earlier, since we are being a part of this amazing program, so some of our fellow campus experts have found that some other country campus experts are doing something called Hacktoberfest. So we thought that we saw that there is something going in the world which is very famous, but Sri Lanka is not aware about that. So Isroya and Padmalaya and Dilum thought to start this event in Sri Lanka to make the students to aware about the open source and the Hacktoberfest stuff. So we started this journey back in 2018 with the support of NSBM University. Now this is our fourth consecutive event since it's virtual. So this is our something like our past events. So um, if it is a in-person event, you will get a lot of swags from us, a lot of gifts, and something like a good food. It will be a very interactive event, right? Hope for the best, and hope probably next year we will be having an in-person event, something like a massive one. So our efforts went success, because when last year the Digital Ocean has been released, their top countries take part in Hacktoberfest competition. So Sri Lanka is there in the fifth place. So the effort that we put in the past 4 years is something like we feel we won. So this is something great. You can see among the some top countries, Sri Lanka is being there. So that's a great news that I have to share with you. So Hacktoberfest, here there is this is the URL that you have to go there and sign up. So go there and sign up with your GitHub account. So then only they will be monitoring your GitHub account, what you are doing, what are the pull requests that you are making, something like that. So what you have to do for this October first, you need to register. Then you need to make 4 pull requests between October 1st and 31st. So that means during the month of October, you have to contribute to someone else's project, and you have to make 4 pull requests. But there is something funny, because in 90s you can see there's a meme. In 90s, Bill Gates says that people will do amazing things after 30 years in computers. But in 2020 and 21, people are used to add their names in some random readme files to win the t-shirt. So this is something that we have to avoid, and we have to make our contributions valid, which means some it should be useful for someone else. So you are spending your time, that means you are contributing to someone else's projects, but you are getting a t-shirts. So is that all that you are getting from contributing to open source? No, because we have something new this year. Can anyone guess this? Any guesses in the chat what it could be? Can we have some guesses in the chat? We have more than 80 people watching in the live. Okay, without having further ado, this year we are having something called leaderboard, which is OpenHackDay leaderboard. Uh, Let me tell you what it does. So basically, the leaderboard works. So you need to contribute to any open source project from below GitHub organizations. So we have 5 GitHub organizations. So I have to add IIT, IEEE branch GitHub organization as well. I forgot to do that. So if you are contributing to these organizations, you will be appear in the leaderboard. So let's say your one pull request got merged, you will get 10 points. So as per your points, the leaderboard will shuffle the users in the order. So at the end of the October, that means the deadline is going to be October 31st. So after that, we will be checking the leaderboard, and we will pick the top 5 contributors from this leaderboard table, and we will give gift as GitHub t-shirt. So there is something I have to remind. To win this t-shirt, you say something like you started something similar to a very easy readme file in your GitHub organization and ask your campus mates to contribute to that one. It's not gonna work, because we will be monitoring the leaderboard every single day, and we will be checking which pull requests you are making. So we will be definitely looking into that. If you are making something unuseful to someone, we will be block that person, and it means something like disqualified. So we will be manually blocking that person from this leaderboard. So your pull request should be useful for someone, you make some valid contributions. So let me explain the same scenario with the meme. If you don't have, if you couldn't find a projects to contribute, here we have 5 and plus 1 IIT, 6 open source contributions in Sri Lanka. So if you are contributing to any other organizations, it won't be count in the leaderboard. You have to contribute to the following organizations. So keep in mind or take a screenshot of this meme. It will be okay. So now you have Hacktoberfest t-shirt and GitHub t-shirt. There's a chance for 5 people to win this t-shirt, but you feel like you still want more swags. That means you would love to contribute to open source more and more. So there is something for you. Here you can see a URL called hacktoberfestswaglist.com. So let me show you. If you go to this site, here you can see from A to Z uh, GitHub organizations and what you need to do. Here you can see, for an example, Upright, who is a collaborator with DigitalOcean this time for the Hacktoberfest. So for this year, you will be getting T-shirt and stickers. The requirement is 4 pull request in any eligible repository. So you have to sign up with the Hacktoberfest website, and your pull request should be merged. Else, it should be labeled as Hacktoberfest accepted. So you will be get t-shirt and stickers, something like. And you can take AppSmith. There's a chance for you to win t-shirt, stickers, water bottle, hoodie, and so on. Here the rules are here. If your one pull request got merged, you will get stickers. If it is 4, you will get a surprise box. So something like, we have a huge list here. So this is not ending with the only 4 pull request. There are a lot of chance for you to win more swags. You are not only getting swags. Let's see what else you can gain from contributing to open source. So you might have this question in your head: why should I contribute to open source? The same question I had when I was in first year: why should I spend my time to someone else's projects? So let's see what are the reasons that we can found. So can someone recognize this? What is this image? Any guesses? Which was very famous back in 2018 when this been captured. Any guesses from the audience? No. So this is something like the photography of black hole, which is captured by a scientist. I'm not going to go deeper about this image because I have no much idea on this, but I know this is far away from this Earth, from 55 million light years. You can imagine how far is it. How it was possible is, the scientist who captured this image, she has used more than 20 open source libraries. So if everyone thinks the same, why should I contribute to open source? This wouldn't be possible, right? So something like, we are helping the world to make a better place. So I believe in a quote, open source, open doors. So I felt this every time when I'm contributing to open source, which is, you may ask why. Because in my personal opinion, there are a lot of doors open for me by contributing to open source. So let's talk about these uh, in detail. So benefits of being an open source contributor. The first one is, you expand your skill set. That means, by contributing to open source, you may get an experience to work on real world projects which are people using. So something like VLC media player, which is open sourced. So let's say you are a C++ developer and you are working on VLC media player, any bugs. So you will get a lot of experience, because that is a public project which is used by millions. So something that you can learn. And even you can learn something like new programming language by contributing to open source, because I learned a lot new programming languages and frameworks by working on uh, open source projects. For an example, I work with the React.js, but I have no experience with React with TypeScript. But I had an opportunity to work with React years with our open source organization. I expand my skill set with React and TypeScript. So the second point is, it's good for your career. You can proudly put that in your CV. Instead of you have done a simple library management system on your first year, you can put something like, you have worked on this project which is used by these millions. So you can mention that in your CV. So people who know about this open source value, they will really appreciate this one. And you will start building a network. That means you will get a lot of connections. Something like, let's say you just create an issue, you found a bug in Angular framework repository or React framework, React library repository, you just create an issue there. So the staff from the React team will be communicate with you. Then if anyone facing the same issue, they will come into that issue and they will comment, and they will even ask you a email, and they will communicate with you what the solution that you found. So you will give you can build a great network among yourself. And let's say if you are working for something like open source organization, something like for Asia, you will get connected to a lot of peoples around this Asia who are passionate about this open source and stuff. So sometimes you will get a lot of opportunities as well. I will share the story in a while. You will learn new things you never knew. As I said previously, obviously you can learn something new. And I won't feel shame to say this, because I learned a lot from my juniors batch at my campus, because I don't have any idea about this Docker and container stuff. I deploy the web applications as simple as something like I build the application, I take it to these productions. But what my juniors batch does is they containerize everything. They don't deploy the code, they deploy containers. So I learned about this Docker and this orchestration stuff from my juniors. So you can definitely learn some new skills as well. Job opportunities, something like you have a question on your mind, so those are free and I'm spending my time, so how can I get opportunities? So let me tell you a story of my friend. So one of my friend from Bangladesh, he is a Flutter developer. So he found something isn't working properly in Flutter. So he went to the Flutter repository and created an issue there. So someone from another country who faced the same issues, search that issue on Google, it take him to this GitHub issue board. So they both are communicated there. So, okay, I am facing this, are you facing the same? So then they shared their contact details. And luckily that person was a tech lead from a company. So he gave a job offer to my friend. Hey, can you join my company as a Flutter developer? I can pay you this amount. Because the way he communicated, the way he show his um, soft skills in the issues chat, which was impressive. So he got hired by uh, that company, fully remote job. And your contribution will impact thousands of people. As I shown in my previous slide, the black hole photography was possible with open source projects. And apart from that, and let's say you will get something like a great feel. Let's say you have fixed a bug on a VLC player, because it's open source, right? You have fixed a bug. So it's got merged luckily. Then you can tell your friends, hey, you are using VLC media player, I am the one who fixed this issue. So this is something like a great feel. And can earn good amount of money. You might have this question, everyone, how can I earn money by contributing to open source, right? So any guesses? If not, you might see in some GitHub repositories there is a button something like sponsor. If you check the repository something like Vue.js, you can see a sponsor button there. It won't available for Angular and React because it is maintained by the largest companies. So if you found a good project, people will be sponsoring that project. They will spend their own money. Something like, hey, this project is something useful for me. This library is very useful for me. I'm going to contribute to this project, something like with money. So if people will love to contribute to, if the project is useful for them, they will definitely sponsoring that project. So it doesn't need to be a big one and which is used by the millions of people. You can simply check my GitHub profile where I have something readme stats, so which is used by thousands people, but people are sponsoring that project. So you have that opportunities as well. And that's all about these benefits of being an open source contributor. I hope I gave a clarity about these open source contributions and its valuables. So now we have two amazing persons who had Google Summer of Code in during their academic life, and something like they did a lot with open source projects and they have a great experience on this journey. So let me have Dilumdi Silva and Isru Aya to the stage.
Hello.
Hey folks, hope I'm loud and clear, Safnans.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
All right, thanks. Yeah, hi guys. This is a wonderful evening. I think a lot of folks maybe after a busy day, or some maybe like after online lectures, or some there can be some just after their busy day of their work life. So yeah, first of all, I'm glad that we have, I think, 80 plus, as I remember. So Safnaz was telling we have 80 plus people who's watching. So even though you are a uni student, currently engaged with your internship, or even though you are graduated already, and if you are watching this, we are really glad because that thought had you had in your mind was like taking part in this event because you wanted to like get to know more about open source and like be a part of the culture of open source culture. Yeah, so to move ahead, I think mostly when it comes to open source, I can I can revert my like I can recall university journey down the memory line. So I think it's the same for Isuru. So uh, where we explored things, our hands were dirty on like bugs and errors, like uh, lot of crazy things, like I would say we didn't know well because the every supporter we had, like like only supporter we had was like googling it and like figure out things. Other than that, there was this stage, I think all of us had, maybe for you it's the safest git and git session is this one, or likewise in my journey, like I had a session from one of my like seniors that time they organized there. It's about git and github. So I took part in this, and that time I had no idea like what is git and how it goes on. But there was something that was hitting me, like that day he was telling like this is kind of a like step to a whole bunch of other competitions and whole bunch of things that you can get into your profile. So that's I would say that was the point where I thought I would learn github and git. Then while doing this, I met Isru as well. I think we met during the first WordCamp, WordPress WordCamp in Sri Lanka. So we got to know, and Isru was passing me some details about, hey, look, I'm already completing this GitHub Campus Expert. There's a program called GitHub Campus Expert, and it looks like cool because no one from Sri Lanka has been ever completed this. So and but it seems like it's a promising and it's a like solid community. So why don't you give it a try? So that's where we started digging into like GitHub related stuff, like following up with the program. And also this is one thing becoming open source, because I would say open source is not something you write code and you make a PR. It's a mindset. Open source is like helping someone, or like you do something which can be like making an impact in the other one's life. Basically Isuru just pass that GitHub Campus Expert program to me. It's also open source, I would say. It's a mindset that you develop helping like some people are no, like, like they don't share their exams, they don't share their code. But I would say like if you can do something, even passing a single word or a single sentence or opportunity to another person which makes an impact in his life, I would say that's the main thing of being open source contributor. So yeah, I would love to go through what we did back then. So it was all about like getting to know about GitHub and back and forth discussions with Isuru about the program. And I think my very first open source engagement was Google Coding. What about you, Isuru? Like it was Google Coding back then. That's where I actively took part in something related to open source organization.
Yeah. Actually, actually, before I compete for these global contest, I was trying to contribute few open source repositories. Like I remember, I was trying to contribute. Uh, PHP my admin first, but I was not competent enough to contribute that one. But I was trying, and I was trying to contribute Moodle. Actually, it was the very first experience, uh, uh, open source experience I had, because it was really nice. I did. Uh, Back then, I knew nothing about open source, and I was trying to contribute. I was trying to fix very minor bug, but the nice thing was all of the admins, not all of the admins, some of the admins and active contributors helped me to set up the environment and run how to run the grunt task. They were teaching me how to do that. Even though I am the I was trying to fix a minor bug. They were passing their knowledge to me. Actually, that was my very first experience. It was really nice. So how was your experience when you
Yeah, I
were
would
doing
say.
the GCI?
Yes, it's pretty much same, because I just started. I still remember I was asking you, right, for organizations, which organization is easy to adapt and easy to go and start things. So you said like do your own research and like try to understand what is your comfort zone and try to like go get into an organization within your comfort zone first, because you will feel you won't feel demotivated if you couldn't contribute it. So I think back then it was JBoss organization I started my contribution. So JBoss like had this they announced this when Google was doing Google coding. So I just like I just started dropping a message, hey, I am a student and blah blah blah, I am from Sri Lanka. That was my first like engagement with the community, and I was very happy because there were a lot of people like trying to welcoming me to the community JBoss like thread, and they were telling, hey, look about these issues, look at these like readme files, whether you can find out anything, and if you are trying to set up something, like if you have any problems, please reach out to us. So likewise, so there were times like I was like in Gitter it was mostly, so I was reaching out to a couple of people, back and forth discussions. I would say like I was blessed at that time. So as you also shared, like how energetic that those people were, because they never told me no, I can't, like I am busy right now, so I can't help you, so why don't you go through the document and try it out again. So they were not like that. They were always like step by step, I am sharing my screenshots of the errors that I'm getting, so they are trying to figure it out. So it was, I would say, like basically it's a creative way of teaching, right? So you letting the person who's trying out to face issues, and then you guiding him, so that anyway gives him hands-on experience as well. So I would say even now, like by being like with the experience that time we gain, now we know like how to follow documentation. Even there were times like we didn't know where to look at the documentation, right? So we just read through it and we face a issue and we reach to the person. So now after keep doing it, like now we know like whether how we should scan a documentation of a program or a software, and how we can like uh, try to understand things, and like try to start with the project or something like that. So and also I think open source, so it all became a thing once I become a GitHub campus expert. So I started doing a lot of git sessions for junior folks, and also like with the community, with Isuru and Padma. So this event also one of the things that we pulled out from like like it was a very quick discussion. We thought why we don't organize a local session of Hacktoberfest back then, uh, to make the awareness within the community. I think you still remember that night, right, Isuru? That call around 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Just three of us, Padma, me, and yourself, just planned it and talked to the NSBM folks, because we wanted a huge auditorium, because we had no idea like how many people are going to come. So so that's how things went. And yeah, I would like to recall the Summer of Code, because one thing is GitHub Campus Expert program. Anyway, like you also can try it out. But Google Summer of Code, I would say it's a wonderful opportunity, and still it's impacting on my life and career. So whenever someone sees in Google Summer of Code in my CV, still the recruiters, the first thing, or the thing that they notice, from the international talent when they are looking for international talent. So the Google Summer of Code, because that's the recognition that they have keep up for the program. Um yeah, what about you, Isuru, when it comes to Google Summer of Code?
Yeah. Actually, as Safnaj mentioned that it opened a lot of doors for us. Actually, Google Summer of Code is the one of that. Actually, I tried a few times to apply this competition, but I 2 times I failed. But the third time I got a chance to compete as a Google Summer of Code student for this organization called Force Asia. In this, the experience was really nice because I got a chance to work with like around 20 international students and international mentors. The experience was really nice because we had to work together, we had to discuss, we had to share the knowledge, and this is really nice experience as a student. I really enjoyed that time. After 3 months, actually, after 3 months, they asked me to contribute as a developer to the same repositories. Uh, it was really nice because after that 3 months, they invited me to the FOSSASIA conference in Singapore to present my project. Then I got to know and I met all the mentors and my fellow developers in person. It was really nice experience. Uh, Mostly the learning experience is really good. As a student, I learned a lot. And uh, after this, after I contributed as a student, they asked me to contribute to the same projects as a mentor. Uh, as an open source developer, it is really it was pleasure to give back to the community that you came from. So I within my period I mentored like around 100, maybe 100 plus students for Google Summer of Code and Google Coding. Uh, it is really really good experience. I think it happens different ways in different organizations. How it was happening in JBoss, Dilum.
Yeah, not to mention, like I was like trying out couple of times as same as Isuru. Mostly like you will feel Isuru's and my journeys are like aligning well, because whenever Isuru tried out something, he passed the ball to me. So it was like that. So he had the Google Summer of Code experience, so he just passed the ball to me. Hey, look, there's this, and I got 5 lakhs. Why don't you try it out as well? So money is not the main thing behind that, because Isuru was already experiencing uh, the impact that summer of being a Summer of Code student has been introduced to his life, going to Singapore for Asia conference, so those kind of things. So I also felt wow, cool, so this looks like a golden ticket to a couple of things. So why don't I try it as well? So I, with the help of Isru, I was trying to write my proposal, submit it to different organizations. Again, I failed, but there was a time like when I was in final year, like I got a chance with Scolab organization. So that was a brand new project. So from the architectural level to one-to-one discussions with back and forth discussions with mentors, org admins, and with the people who are interested about that project, we were able to architecture some the software image lab, and we were able to set milestone. Actually, like I would say that's where I actually got the idea of architectural idea of how we can from the granular level of a software, we can develop it up to a level where we can actually start writing code. So other than my internship experience, I would say this is like, because when I was going into my internship, the projects were there for the company, right? So mostly that's what happened. The projects are already stable, and there are already projects, so we don't get the opportunity to uh, put our comments and feedback on the granular level of a software. So this Google Summer of Code, again, it is something very remarkable in my journey, because it gave me the idea of discussions, and how we come up with architectural diagrams, and how we can define a well scope, because like in Google Summer of Code anyway you have 3 months. You don't like the admins or the mentors doesn't want to like get yourself stressed with that. So defining the scope well. And yeah, before that, by being what do you call open source contributor, like I always say this, like it's not a practice you do, it's a mindset that you improve on yourself. So being open source helped me to engage with a lot of communities like Colombo Flutter community. It became part of Sri Lanka, and we got the recognition from Google. So with all that, again, I was able to represent Sri Lanka at First Asia Summit, as Isuru did. So that was again a wonderful journey, fully sponsored from GitHub side. And these are some of the privileges, because you will think, okay, you are talking about conferences, but we have to pay from our end, right? But no, if you are an open source contributor, and if you are if you have a promising account or a profile, they will definitely look into you. And there are a lot of opportunities to get sponsorships. There are wonderful ways of how you can achieve these things. And also, like, I would say we both shared a one skill that we never face shy to talk to people. I think Isru also, like, whenever, even though we felt like, okay, this is something that we don't know, so we were always open to ask from. That's how Isru and myself are always communicating. Like, not only Isru and myself, even like with I would say out of our range of comfort zone, we have discussed to people. It can be someone from another country, it can be someone from we found that opportunity in open source as well, because when you are in this open source mindset, there are a lot of people is they're happy to help. So I remember the friends that we made during First Asia. So we traveled together, and then later when they go back to their countries, they even invited me for other conferences that they are organizing in their universities or their communities. So I would say this is like all connected, right? You can see this all the dots that started with where I learned Git and where I made my first PR. So I gained the knowledge of like how to handle this entire platform, which is connecting a lot of open source developers and organizations. And then from there I met Isru again. He had the mindset of being open source contributor, then he shared his experience with me, and then I was connected to one competition, then another, and going to First Asia. So likewise, so all of these are connected. And one more thing I wanted to highlight, like the one thing is, like, you will getting a lot of sponsorships, and also like you will getting a recognition, because I would say just getting yourself graduated from a university just with the first class, that's out of date nowadays. They look for more, I would say, because I have been in interviews and I have been into screening calls. They don't, I would say, like, they don't care about your first class at the moment. It's just a qualification that most of the people is having. A bachelor's is just a qualification, because nowadays anyone, if you take a CV, either they have their bachelor's and the promising educational qualifications, or else they are really skillful. And but the industry is looking for something, whether you have communication skills, and you have soft skills, and also whether you have like engage with the communities and all that. Isru, what do you think about this? Because in my experience, like, all the screening calls, they were really impressed about the things that we did related to open source, and the profiles, the
Yeah,
things that we achieved there.
yeah, it's really true. Actually, I got my first internship because of the open source contributions that I have done. Because
Awesome.
My CV had some different technologies than rest of other candidates. Yeah, that's why. Because most of the time, the students, undergraduates, they do maybe .NET, Java, JavaFX or something. But if you do something different, they know, definitely they know, okay, this guy have tried at least to learn something different. He at least tried to contribute something else. He is ready for challenges. So this is really good on your CV, and especially the Google Summer of Code. And if you guys want to start your open source journey, I think this Hacktoberfest is very good starting point for you guys, because this time we are not going to allow you guys to make useless contributions, dump commits. You guys need to we have created a Discord chat. You can collaborate with us, and we can share knowledge, and you guys can contribute richly to these repositories. I think Tilum might have covered everything, right?
Yeah, I would say, like, since we are running out of time, so I'll try to summarize like the points that we need to highlight to, like, pass to your heads to get yourself motivated to, like, why you should why and what aspects. So what you are getting, I would say, from being open source contributor, like practicing open source mindset, I would say you will feel great because helping others after they achieved something, trust me, you will feel great because yourself helping the other person. And then the next thing, like when you see that you are achieving things again, you will feel great. So that's winning something, and like holding the responsibility of titles and being recognized. Those things will feel really great when you go to industry, and you will feel confident, I would say, because open source is all about like hands-on coding, right? You can't like just speak for yourself and become open source contributor. You have to like try out things. So it will like, without knowing, without even you noticing, it will improve your like debugging skills, error facing, and how you tackle errors, those kind of issues, those kind of skills. Other than that, why to become open source contributor? So a couple of things: you get access to a whole bunch of free things and free tools. Even when you are open source contributor, you will search for a free tool. You will try to see whether there's an alternative open source tool for the same paid tool. So that's again a good practice. And I would say the other things, competitions, a whole bunch of swags. So I think I have a like cupboard full of t-shirts by now, from different things and different events, because back then we were engaging physically within the events, and like we were going to events likewise. So competitions, first and most famous thing is Google Summer of Code, where you get paid cash from US dollars. And I would say that's something you should really achieve, because I have seen people who have done Summer of Code for like 2-3 times, and I'm pretty sure they have a very good amount of they have a very good balance in their bank accounts as well. So 5,000 USD to Sri Lankan rupees is huge, as Sri Lanka is growing so fast and performing very well at the moment. So that is also there, and also you are helping to Sri Lankan economy as well, bringing USD to Sri Lanka, and that's also something that we can highlight. So, and the next thing I would say, making good friends, like lifetime friends. I would say like Isuru, and people I can recall very quickly is Harshil, and I would say Daniel, those kind of people that I met during open source contributions. And you will be a part of great organizations, and even I would say in another 10 years, 5 years time also, you can cherish the contributions that you did. You can proudly say, hey, look, I developed Image Lab back then during my Summer of Code. Now thousands of people are using it. That's I would say a great feeling, right? So other than that, anything I miss, Isru, to highlight? And career opportunities, of course.
Yeah, I think you have covered almost everything. I think, yeah.
Yes. So I think Safnaj is around. So we'll hand the deck back to Safnaj.
Yes, thanks
Oh,
for the very insightful points. I hope this will
Yeah.
make a lot of impact in students' life, right? Because these points are not everyone gonna give. Those are the valuable points that you can gain. They talked all about this, their GSOC journey, Google Summer of Code, and how the open source can change their life and the career. So those thanks for the sharing your
Yeah.
experience with
Yeah,
our
one more
audience.
thing, Safnaj, yeah, before we just go back to backstage, like I would say one thing don't see in like these kind of events in Sri Lanka that's happening. I don't see a lot of feedback or interactions, because back then we remember when we go back to a do a speech, or like it can be online, it can be physically. They have a lot of, we were bombarded with like a lot of questions, right? Even a simple question, how to start with Google Summer of Code. So if you have any simple question in your head that is blocking you at the moment related to open source, I would say this is the opportunity. Drop your text in the, drop a text in the chat, or wherever you are able to like comment and share your questions. So because I would say don't just attend the events, try to like grasp something from the event and make an impact because of that event, because that's where you are going to achieve success, not being a part of any event. So just being just attending an event won't like change anything. So so we have a lot of people from different cultures. Like being a GitHub campus expert means like they have gone through something and they are very comfortable with these platforms and all that. So I would say, like as I said, even if you don't know how to become a mentor for organization, even if you don't know how to start with the organization, just drop a message. So now here, like mostly 5 to 6 people are here, so they will try to answer your questions. So yes, Afnaj, thanks. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We are not coming and doing events and going. So we care about this. We care about our community that we have created. I repeat this. We care about our
Yeah.
community that we have created. So there's a Discord channel as well, because right after this event, also you can have an interaction with us. So let me share the Discord link with you. Yes, it's posted in the comment section, right? So if you have any queries, we have separate channels, something like OpenHackDay, something like mentoring. We have some meet rooms as well. If you want to talk with us, or if you have any questions about GSOC and the sector of us, anything, you can reach out there. So, and people are asking about these open source organizations which is going to take part on this Open Hack Day in the comments. So let me remind you these open source organizations. So here we have GitHub Campus Experts, LK GitHub organization, where you can find a lot of repositories in separate programming languages. Then we have Slate First Community. Then we have Sri Javathanapura First Community and the NSBM First, University of Colombo Mozilla Club, and IIT uh, student branch on IEEE. So you can find any repositories from these organizations and take part in the Open Hack Day. So this is the leaderboard that you can access to check your progress. That means check the table who are in the top. So if the top contributor is having 50 points, then you should make 6 pull requests to take over him, right? So make sure you check out the dashboard every single day. And we have 15 days left, right? The deadline is going to be October 31st. So make sure to contribute to valuable uh, projects. That means make your contributions valuable to someone. So that's all about from our end. So let me hand over to Yatu.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad Safnaj, Mr. Dilam De Silva, and Mr. Isuru Abhayavardana for sharing your great knowledge and experience from this interesting session. I hope they got more knowledge about what is Open Hack Day and what is open source. Then we're gonna move the session to what is version control system. So I gladly welcome our honorable guest Hiranda Shanukar, GitHub campus expert and DevOps engineer at Global Market Access. I hope Mr. Hiranda Shanukar, you're ready to take over this session.
It's 1930.
Okay, thank you Atif for the intro. Um, Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well and thank you for joining today with us. And I'm also very happy to be a part of today. So, welcome to Open Hack Day. Today I'm gonna give a little intro into the VCS and the Git. Um, okay, let's jump in. So, today I'm gonna give some intro on VCS and Git. So, let's start from the basics. And uh, and again, I'm Hiranta Beris, and I'm also a Microsoft Student Learn Ambassador as well as GitHub Campus expert. And I graduated from University of Rohuna and currently working as a DevOps engineer. So without further ado, let's jump in again, and we are going to talk about at the first about the VCS. So I found this good in a description about the VCS. So Here it describes what is version control and what is version control system. So these are two different things. And version control is a practice of tracking and managing things into software code. So version control system is the tool or the software that help us to do that, and or as well as contribute with the team over time. So, and again, here's a more meaningful definition from Dilumaya. So, I grabbed his definition. It's a full local history of changes made. So that's pretty cool, I think. Okay, and um, so why version control is important? So version control system records the changes that we made to our code over time. A thing called repository. It's like a database. So not a database, but it's like something like that. So we can look at our project history and see who made the changes and when and why. And if something gets screwed, we can easily revert back to our project previous state. Without version control system, we will have to constantly copy, uh, have the stored copies all the time. So that is really painful. So here are the importance of having a version control that especially help teams to collaborate who are anywhere in the world, and accelerate the product delivery of our software code. So, and again, here's a meme from Softmatch. And this is something I used to do when I was at in a school. So I do not have any idea about the VCS, Git or something. So uh, I was doing something about the PHP, something with PHP, and so I constantly saving all the files again and again and replacing the previous file. So I had no idea about the version control system. So as you know, without version VCS, we may have to use this method, and this is very slow and doesn't scale at all. So it doesn't even scale, mean nothing, do nothing. So this is bunch of versions in different folders and a lot of copies. So especially if multiple people is working on the same project, and you constantly have to toss around and have the copy latest copy from others, and this get really painful when you are going to merge those changes into a main code base. So that is very really painful. You are not going to know what the other contribution have written, and you need to talk to them and again. That is really painful. So in a nutshell, with the version control system, you can track your project history and work together like many of others. Okay, so after that, version control VCS falls into two categories mainly. The first one is centralized. So you know what's the basic definition of centralized server. So mm, centralized system, in centralized system, all the team members connect to the central server and get the latest copy downloaded, and and share changes with others. So as I remember, Microsoft Teams Foundation server was an example for centralized version control system. So that I don't think is no anyone is using the centralized version control in present time. So the main disadvantage of having a centralized version control system is that there's a single point of failure. So if the central server goes down and no one can collaborate with others and no one can get the latest code and you are on your own, you will have to wait until the server comes back online. So that's the main disadvantage. And the next category is distributed. So you know what's the architecture of distributed. So distributed means everything is distributed with others. So we in this category, this distributed VCS, we do not really need to have a centralized server, and each member has a copy of their project and history of their project. So in their own machine, it's all saved in their local machine, and We can save snapshot our project locally and collaborate with others. Even the centralized server goes offline, we can the contributors can share their codes with them among others. So Git and Mercurial is a examples for distributed version controls. Um, so next, let's jump into Git. So Git is the main story here. So we are when it comes to open source and open source contribution, so Git and GitHub plays a bigger part in that. Okay, so Git is the most widely used modern control system, and it is open source, super fast, scalable, and branching and merging makes really easy. So I think Git is nearly everywhere. So as I think nearly 90% of projects in software projects in the world would use Git because it's super easy, super fast, and super easy to learn. So there's a little very low learning curve with Git. So anyone can understand Git, anyone can collaborate with Git. So um, um, and there's various ways of using Git, like various type of things. So you can use Git with command line or your terminal, and I think it's the fastest and most easiest way to get the job done sometimes. So because you can run the command easily and command then and your job gets done. So if you are not a fan of command line tools and running commands each and every time, well, you are in luck. uh, I think mostly because most modern code editors and IDEs have built-in support for VCS or Git. And for example, in VS Code, we have source control panel, and which gives all the features like pushing commit and setting commit messages and so on. So for graphical user interfaces, I think especially made for Git, and there are Git Kraken is an example for that, and also GitHub also have a version, Git desktop version. Um, I have used Git Kraken. I think it's a pretty awesome tool, and it's pretty cool, as I feel. I haven't used GitHub desktop version, but I think it's also get the work done. So and before the to the workflow, I would like to mention that these Git GUI tools have limitations. So they supports command people mostly used. So you can use Git GUI. It's all right. And if there's times you have to roll up your sleeves and get back to the command line tool, because for an example, if you SSH into or remotely connect into a server, so in the server the GUI tool is not available. You know that if you have a remote server with running Linux or Linux especially, uh, it's not going to give you GUI tool for their repositories, downloaded repositories, and run deploying on the servers. So you are back to the basics. You will have to use the Git command line tool. That's why I said it is really useful and mindful to have a pretty basic, even a basic knowledge on how using Git command line tool. Okay, so let's get into Git workflow. So this is something different and something need to be understand very well as my thinking. So um, as shown in the my slides, here we have a working directory. So working directory has files on it. Like if you're having a code file, you are having a node.js or whatever the code base you have files on it. And you in the other side you have a repository. So this is where we have our versions saved and remembered, our snapshots. Okay. uh, and when you done the modifications, or when you additions you code into the your code base, and at the time you have a time when the time comes you to save that those code base, you do something like having making getting those files into the area called staging area. So this is something like indexing area. So this is only existing in Git, I think. We do that by adding running this command git add. We can add all the files, or um, the file only needed one. So um, when, as I said, when you are done making changes, you can add the modification files to the staging area or indexing and review changes. And the fun part is, if everything looks good, you can commit your snapshot and save in the repo. Or what if you think that this is not gonna work, this is gonna build break our build, and easily you can revert back to your previous state. And also uh, there are some other advantages here. So as I said here, so in the working directory I have 3 files, but in staging area I have only file 1 and file 2. So you can choose what you need to be saved, what you need to have in the history. So like for an example, in our code, we have in for an example, in a node.js code we have log file. So log files doesn't need to be in the history or the git history, so we can just ignore those. Likewise, so we can choose what we need to be, what need to be in repo. So that's the git workflow. Here in the next I have the basic git command. So when you can initialize git with git init command, so that initialize the git in your folder. And you can next add your files into the git your version control or git by git add, or selecting adding only the required file. So after that's done, you can commit your snapshot into the repo. So git commit and -m and init. Here this is the comment, or you can have a meaningful comment. I think mostly you need to, it's a best practice to have a super meaningful comment. And it's really I think it's really helpful when you have when you have to see the previous git commits. You can have better understanding what you have done. So in the with the git status, you can get the status in the from that command. You will see the what are the modified files, what are the files in the staging, and what are the files on are not tracking at all. So git status gives a better status of your project, and with relevant to the git. So git ls files gives the files you have in git. And that's the basic, those are the basic commands with git. And pretty sure Chamod will have a demo with this, so you can have better understanding. And next, so I have a little story with these git for better understanding. So think like you are painting a drawing, and when the color you're going to color your paint. So when you choose a color, you apply color, you can't revert it back. So if you think your color, the chosen color you have is not matching, you just run a single command. If the painting is like in git, you could just run a single command and revert back to the previous state. And that's a simple story that I used to say when to others to have better understanding. So it's like doing a painting, and doing a changes and reverting back colors likewise. So uh, and the next thing is with the git is git branches. So git branches are like a snapshot of a point, a certain point. So if we have a main branch, we have main branch in repository. So if you're developing a feature, you can have a copy of that main branch or whatever the branch you want. and you can do the coding on your own way. So the changes you do, the modifications you do, will not be affected to the others. So you're on your branch, others on other their own branch. So nothing's going to affect each other. And if I align with this story, this branch thing with the previous story, so imagine that you are painting a drawing as before, and your sister comes in and asks you to join. So guys, you, come on, you can't let her to ruin your painting, but there's a way you can satisfy her. You can have her own exact copy of your painting, and let her do her painting and let her play with it. You do your own work, she is doing she's own work. So surprisingly, if her painting is looks good, you can merge her changes into your painting. So this works like charm in grid branch with grid branches. So you can align with match this story with the grid branches easily, I think, to have better understanding. Okay, here is a visual image of git branch. Like it's here is the main branch, and there's a little feature goes at the beginning of the main branch, and there's also a big feature going on. So these branches are not going to affect each other. They works along the way, and when the time comes, you can merge them together with to the whatever the branch you want. So it doesn't mean that you need to always merge with the main branch. So it's up to you. You can the little feature guy can merge with the big feature, or big feature guy can little merge with the big feature. So that's goes on. It's up to you. You can do anything with this branch, git branches and others. And let's tune on to the GitHub. So sometimes this becomes a little confusing when it comes to Git and GitHub. So these things are a little different. Like Git runs on your local machine, and Git is the main basic system or tool that gives us the super awesome version control system. And GitHub is the like a Git on cloud. Like it's a hosted version. You can It's an online platform that you can have your own repos stored in there, and anyone around the world can get your repo and get your code base or contribute to your code base. So this is really GitHub plays a really big part when with the open source communities. So with this, it doesn't matter wherever you are in the world. You can, if you have an idea, if you have a code base that implements your idea, you can push that into the GitHub, and everyone in the world, each and anyone in the world can contribute to your code. So GitHub is acquired by Microsoft in 2018. So and it's have hosted over 100 million repositories. So this is the story of about GitHub, and this is the intro. So uh, for like the importance and the advantages, like git really makes a version control super easy, because it has a friendly UI environment where you can merge your branches and make pull requests. So merging on command line is sometimes get pretty ugly. So with the GitHub, it makes pretty easy. So it shows you every changes, what are the differences between the branches, and who did what when, what are the commits, how many commits and commit messages, and all the stuff will be there. So that's why GitHub is super awesome. So and also there are many other advantages with GitHub, like GitHub pages and CI/CD, GitHub action. So there are a lot of things comes with GitHub. So I think Jamut's gonna give us some intro into those areas. So so it's the most number one developer platform. Many tech giants use GitHub and it has many repositories, and it's scaled like a real big into a real big level. So that's all from me, guys. So I think you have also a better understanding on VCS, Git, and GitHub. Thanks for joining, and please continue watching, and please continue joining with us again in future events. And that's all from me, Safnaj, and it's up to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiranda Shanaka, for giving a great idea about the version control system. So, we learned version control system perfectly. Then let's go with the next sessions, how you are going to hack the Hacktoberfest. And I know you all are excited to wait for our practical session. So, I would like to introduce our next keynote speaker, Mr. Chamod Chenakar, GitHub campus expert, GitKraken ambassador, and also demonstrator.
Hi, hope you are doing well. Before we jump into the demo, let me give a brief introduction about me. My name is Chamod Pereira, and I'm a GitHub campus expert. And also, I'm a GitKraken ambassador. Apart from that, I'm part of Street First Community, Community Sri Lanka, and GitHub Community Sri Lanka. So let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Uh, like Hirata mentioned, Git is a tool, so you need to install it. And also, when I'm talking about Git, I'm referring this Git cheat sheet, which Hiranta mentioned as well. So first, you need to download the particular Git tool to your computer based on your OS. So I have installed Git to my computer already, so I'm not going to do that now. So after that, once you install Git, you need to create a GitHub account. So go to github.com, then create an account. Once that's done, you need to set up the your local environment for Git. So you need to run two commands. They are git config --global and then user.name and your name username of the your GitHub account, and then you need to configure the your email address which you use to create your GitHub account. So after that, you can work with Git. So let me create a sample project. I'm just creating a folder here. I'm going to name it as Hacktoberfest 2021. So this is just a folder. So now I'm going to open this in terminal. If you are Windows user, you can use Git bash instead. So initialize this folder as a Git repository. You need to run git init command. So while I'm talking, you can refer the Git cheat sheet. Yeah, as you can see, git init command initialize the existing directory as a Git repository. So now I'm going to open this repository in VS Code, so we can add some files, create some codes there. For the demo, I'm just creating a README file here. And I'm just typing hello it. So now we need to make this as a commit. That means we need to create a Git snapshot. To do that, we need to first stage these changes. So I'm going to run git add. Here I can provide the file name of the file name I wanted to stage. Instead, I'm going to use dot. That means it's a wildcard. That's include everything. So if I hit git status, you can see new file has added. So now I'm going to make a commit. The commit command is git commit -m. Inside the codes, you need to provide a meaningful commit message. For this, I'm going to provide as a initial commit as a commit message. Right. So now, but this repository only in my computer. So now I'm going to put this into the GitHub cloud. So I need to go to the github.com. So in there, top right corner, there is a plus button. Once I click it, this box will appear. Then I'm going to click on new repository button. So then you will get this kind of UI. So in here, I need to put the repository name. So I'm going to put the same repository name I used in my local machine, which is OpenHackDay. Hacktoberfest 2021. And here you can provide any description you want. And in here, you can choose this repository is a public or private one. If it is public, it's only visible to you, and you need to you can add others too, so they can contribute to your repository as well. So I'm going to keep other setting like this, and now I'm going to click on create repository button. Then yeah, now we need to specify the remote URL to the local Git repository. That means this is our local repository, but it doesn't know about its remote version. So to specify the its remote, I'm going to use this command. So you can simply copy it from here, or else you can copy the Git URL and you can use git remote at origin and the URL. So at the moment in the remote repository, there is no files. So now I'm going to publish these changes to the remote. So I'm going to run git push -u origin main. So if I refresh this page, the README file is here. So now I can add other contributors to this repository. So to do that, I'm going to go to the settings. So in settings, there is a manage access section. So in here, it's asking password again. In here, you will get UI like this. To add collaborators to this repository, I need to click on this add people button and I can search by their username or their email. So I'm going to add Safnaj to this repository. Since I know his username already, I'm going to simply type Safnaj. And I'm now going to click on add Safnaj to this repository. Then he will get the email. Safnaj, can you show the email you got?
So let me share my screen.
Sure.
Okay. Now you can see that I received a mail from Chamod from GitHub, and he has invited me to collaborate on this repository. So this invitation will be expire in next 7 days. So if I want to accept this invitation, simply I can click here, then accept invitation. Okay, now I am also the owner of this repository. I also will be getting this push and pull action access directly to this repository. Okay, Chamad?
Yeah. So can you do a commit to that repository so I can pull the changes from my end?
Okay, so let me copy this repo link. Here you can see the green button. Here you can come and click this copy button to copy this repository URL. Now you have to go to your, let me open my terminal. Let me change my directory to desktop. Now I'm going to use git clone command with this repository URL. You can see I'm cloning this repository, right? It's got clone. You can see this is the repo. So now I'm going to add something in the readme file. I'm going to open with this text editor. Hello Git. I'm going to erase this and I'm going to type OpenHackDay Sri Lanka 2021. Let me save this. Okay. Now I have to go inside this folder. You can see currently I'm in desktop. You can see I'm in desktop. Now I have to go to hacktoberfest 2021 directory. You can see it's showing the branch name as well. I'm in the main branch. So I'm going to add all the files in once. I'm going to give a commit message like read me content change. If you are fixing an issue, if you found issue in a repository, and if you are working on that and you have resolved that, so make sure to add the issue number on your commit message, so it's easy to people to navigate which commit fixes which issue, something like that on GitHub platform. So I'm going to commit now. Okay, now you can see one file change and one insertion has been added to this staging area. I'm going to simply give git push command since the remote is already configured. Yeah, now done. Now let me go back to this Chrome. Chamath, can you share your screen and
Yeah,
have
sure.
updated?
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. As you can see, 2 commits has added. So, but in my local repository, that doesn't aware about this latest commit. So I need to pull these changes from the remote. So do that, I need to run git pull command. So I'm going to execute git pull. Yeah, as you can see, one file has changed and one insertion and one deletion. So here you can see the change of Nant has done. So now let's talk about branches. Like Hiranta mentioned, we can create a branch for because without affect doing anything to the main branch, we can create a separate branch and do our work. When our work is done, we can merge it to the main branch. So to create a branch, we have two options available. First one is git checkout command, and the second command is git switch command, but I prefer git switch command. So I'm going to execute git switch dash c. In here I can provide the branch name. So I'm going to type branch name as branch 1. So hope you can see here the main has changed to branch 1. That since we are in separate branch. So now I'm going to create a new file like index.html just for demonstration. So I'm just adding some HTML codes. Now I'm going to stage these changes. That then I'm going to do a commit git commit -m. As a commit message, I'm going to add index file has created. Since there is no issue, I'm not going to mention that. Yeah. So now I need to push these changes to the remote. We cannot simply push like this. We need to specify the origin. Since I'm lazy to type the everything, so I'm just copy this command and paste it and execute. So when we move to the GitHub, you can see the branch 1 had recent pushes. So to merge that, we need to create a pull request, or we can merge it using git CLI. For this, I'm going to use pull request. To open a pull request, there are two ways I can do that. The first one is I can go to the pull request tab, or I can simply click on compare and pull request button. So I'm going to to click on compare and pull request button. Yeah, this is a pull request title. Here, you need to add meaningful pull request title as a name. And also in the comment section, you can mention what are the changes you have done. So I'm just typing index.html file created. So now I can create a pull request by clicking on this button. So once pull request created, you can see how many commits are here in this pull request and what are the file changes. So it's saying to a line siding. So then after the repository maintainer can review this pull request and he can do some comment and also he can request some changes if there are any. So since I'm the owner of this repository, I cannot add request changes. So now I'm going to merge this pull request. Okay, before that, we were on branch one branch. So I'm for the show the difference. I'm going to switch to the main branch again. Git switch main. So I didn't execute it yet. So here index.html file is here. When I execute this command, it's gone because the main part doesn't contain the index.html file. So now I'm going to merge this pull request. Okay. So now that changes has added to the main branch as well. So to get those changes, I need to pull again. Yeah. Hope you can see index file.html is now here. So I hope everyone has registered to hacktoberfest 2021. You can sign up with GitHub or GitLab, but highly recommend you to use GitHub because there are so many open source repositories are in GitHub. So I have already signed up. Okay, once you sign up to the hacktoberfest, you will see your profile like this. I have already completed my pull request. Pull request count. My pull request count is 10 at the moment. So now I'm going to talk about how to find hacktoberfest repositories to contribute. So you can go to your GitHub. In the search tab, you can search hacktoberfest topic. Yeah. As you can see, there are 81k repositories are participating Hacktoberfest this year, and 97k pull requests are issues are there. You can contribute to any of them. So as for the demonstration, now I'm going to GitHub Campus Experts, GitHub Community Sri Lanka's GitHub organization to looking for an issue. Yeah. So let's say you found this organization is participating Hacktoberfest. So because in the about this repository owner has added hacktoberfest topic. So in the issue section, three issues are there. So now I need to pick one of issues. Yeah. Since I am one of the owner of this organization, I can add labels. So I'm going to add hacktoberfest. Yeah. So before you picking this issue, you have to leave a comment like this issue has raised by Safna. So I'm going to mention him and saying like, can you assign this to me? This is the proper way of contributing to open source. Then I'm going to comment. Then he will go back to my comment and he will assign this issue to me. So let's say let's imagine he assigned this issue to me. So what I need to do is I need to clone this repository first. Sorry, I need to fork this repository first because I don't have push access to this repository. So I'm going to fork this. Fork means if there are repository, open source repositories which we don't have push access, we can simply fork them and we can do a contribution and then we can raise a pull request. So to create a fork, you can click on this fork button. So okay, then here's my fork. Then I'm going to clone this using its URL. I'm going to my file directory. I'm going to open terminal again in here. Clone and the repo URL. So now I need to move to the that repository. Then I'm going to open this repository in VS Code so I can easily code. Yeah. The issue was create a navbar. So don't think about the code. I'm just going to the code and do some modification in navbar. So let's say open hackday. I have added my changes. Then I'm going to state these changes. Now I'm going to commit it. Here you need to provide a meaningful commit message. Like Safnaj mentioned, I'm going to use the issue number as well. So maintainers can easily track on these commit messages. So the issue number for this issue is number 7. I'm going to type fixed #7 now added. I'm going to push these changes to my fork. So in my fork, to create a pull request, I need to go to the pull request tab. Then click on new pull request button. So as you can see, you have to select the base repository and the head repository. It has already selected. Then we can see the comparison. What are the difference between the fork and the original repository. Then I'm going to click on create pull request button to create a pull request. Here I'm going to keep the pull request title as this. I'm going to leave a comment added. So I'm going to click on create pull request button. Once that done, to eligible this pull request as a valid pull request for Hacktoberfest, the maintainer has put Hacktoberfest accepted label, and this PR need to merge. So that's all I had to share with you today. Safnaj, over to you.
So thanks, Chamod. And let me share my screen and merge the pull request and show how it works.
Yeah, don't forget to put the label.
Sure. So here I am in the OpenHackDay LK repository from GitHub Experts LK organization. Here you can see there is one pull request. I'm going to see, and yes, there is one pull request open before 1 minute from Shahanka. So let me check this. So I'm not going to directly merge this pull request, even if I know the developer personally. I'm going to carefully review this because we can see then only what has been added, what has been modified, what has been changed, likewise. So this is a small example to demonstrate how you can work on this open source project. We have added a very single line of code, right? Inside this div, we have added only this OpenHackDay word. If you want to if you want to request changes, you can simply add a comment here by clicking this plus icon. Here you can say, hey, I don't want to approve this pull request, change this message to someone, something like anything. Then it's look good to me, so I'm marking this file as viewed and I'm going to approve this pull request. So since it's approved, I'm going to give Hacktoberfest accepted label. So to make your pull request eligible on this Hacktoberfest competitions, the pull request should be labeled as Hacktoberfest accepted by the maintainers. So that's it. Your pull request will be counted for these competitions. So that's how you can contribute to open source. And if any questions from the audience about this demo, we can have those right now. From FreeMind, do we need to create a new branch, or in the master branch we can do any changes? Chamath, can you pick this?
Yeah, but the problem when you're working with master branch is if something happened to master, so you have to revert it. I suggest you to create a separate branch and do whatever you want. Then if that break your code, your application, you can simply switch back to the master branch and delete that created branch.
Exactly. So if you want to experiment something, let's say you cloned VLC media player, you are going to change the buttons for the play, push, stop buttons with your something different emojis. So you don't need to work on the master branch because you are just experimenting. That's not going to actual contribution. So if you want to experiment something without affecting the actual source code, you can simply create a new branch and you can do whatever you want. So it's a best practice, but it is not mandatory.
He's asking about the demo. I think we just did the demo about how to create
Yes.
a branch. Also,
Yes,
one
we
more,
already did that. If you
one more
missed
point.
that,
Yeah, there is a branch pattern called feature branching. So I will share some resources you can look into that.
fine. He have already demonstrated how to work with multiple branches and all. So if you missed that part, you can rewatch the video. So that's all from this video demo. So let me hand over to Yathu.
Thank you, Mr. Chamod Shehankar, and thanks again, Mr. Ahmad Safnan. I'm pretty sure they clear up to now the practical sessions, and I hope all got well understanding with the visual cutting of this session. And then, are you a student? There's something for you in next sessions. Yes, you have another interesting session here. Now, I happily invite very talented person, Mr. Swin Nimankar, who is GitHub campus expert and software engineer intern at WSO2. And also, I warmly welcome to the well-experienced person, Mr. Amila Gunaradne, in GitHub campus expert and demonstrator at Sabroma University. I hope you both are ready to take over this session.
Hey guys, how's it going for you all? So first of all, happy hacktoberfest to everyone. So since you all have been here for quite some time now, let's just jump into the content and get this done. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, it's loading. Awesome. So I think you all can see my screen. So we are going to talk about the GitHub pages and the GitHub student developer pack today. Moving on, first of all, let me give a brief introduction to myself. I'm Suvin and I'm an undergraduate at University of Columbus School of Computing and I'm currently working at WSO2 as an intern software engineer. So these are my social media handles. If you guys come across anything, you guys can ping me anytime. So moving on, we have another person with me here today, Amilaya, Mr. Amila Gunaratna. He has graduated from the Sabaragama University of Sri Lanka and currently working as a demonstrator at the same university. So these are Amilaya's social media handles. You can ping him with your questions anytime as well. So let us continue our journey into the GitHub pages. Now, GitHub pages essentially is a static site hosting services where you can host your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files straight away from the repository on the GitHub. As Chamoday and Safnaj I showed you, you guys can create repositories on the GitHub platform, right? So with GitHub pages, you can straight away deploy those repositories onto some kind of a hosting service and grab a universal URL where you can access the website from anywhere in the world. So when you host your site on GitHub pages, you will be given a domain, a free domain under the github.io, or else you can come up with a custom domain name and park it here in the GitHub pages. Now, we have a small restriction here in the GitHub pages. When you're publishing your website into the pages, the maximum file size is 1 GB. Essentially, you can't deploy any websites more than 1 GB. And also, the GitHub pages is only intended for something like personal experience or non-monetary purposes. So if you are doing some kind of a business or maybe running an e-commerce site, GitHub pages is not the platform you're looking for. And then the most common and the most used scenario for the GitHub pages is to host your personal portfolio site. You know, where you can put your introduction and maybe your CV, your skill set, also your social media appearances, everything. You can put them into a static HTML and CSS JavaScript website, and then you can host it on the GitHub pages. So the advantage here is you get something personalized domain for yourself. For an example, if I deploy my personal site on the GitHub pages, it would look like my GitHub handle is suink. So my pages URL will be suink.github.io. So that's kind of cool because you get a subdomain under GitHub's domain, parent domain. Now, you guys are wondering, since I was talking about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, can't we do more than that? Like we can't deploy some Angular, React, or maybe Vue.js applications on the pages? Yes, you can. All you have to do is build your application first and then deploy it into a repository and create a GitHub page, and you'll be good to go. Now, enough talking. Let's dive into the live demonstration and see how things work out. Now, you can see here I have created a sample website using HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript for the demonstration purposes. Now, let's deploy this site onto the GitHub pages. So first of all, I'm going to go into the settings. Let's click here, and onto your left side, if you scroll down, you can see this pages tab here. Let's click on that. Now, this is your GitHub pages configuration. So you can see it's a pretty small, straightforward configuration. So first you have to specify the source. Now I'm going to click here, and you can see the master branch of my repository. If I had many branches, or maybe for an example, if I had something called dev branch, it would appear here. So since I only have the master branch, I'm going to click that. And here's the document root. So since I have the index.html file right away in the root directory, I'm going to keep that. So if I had the index.html or the entry point of the repository in the /docs folder, I should have used this. So for now, I'm going to use this root directory and click save. It's going to take some time. Yeah, you can see my GitHub pages is deployed. See, so in k.github.io, you get your personalized domain under the GitHub's parent domain. Let's click on that and see. It says site not found. What could be the reason? Any guesses? Yeah, the reason is the site has not been deployed yet. You have to give it some time to deploy and then come back. So in the meanwhile, let's see the additional options that appeared here. So you can see the custom domain option is now available for us. So for an example, just suppose I have a domain name called suin.com. So if I own that domain, you can simply type in suin.com and save, and then it will automatically link your domain into this GitHub page, the page you deployed. Also, you have to configure some DNS settings from the domain itself, but this is all you have to do from the GitHub side. Now let's see what happened here. Okay, something is clearly wrong. Yeah, let's give it some more time, and let's come back to it and see what happens. Now, when talking about the custom domains, you know, domains can be really expensive, right? So most of them starts at around $8 and they go higher and higher. Now, to talk about these GitHub, like how to get a domain for free, and the other things you can get out from the GitHub's platform. So Amilaya is here to talk to you about those benefits. Amilaya, are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. So, Srimali, shall we go for some requirement for the GitHub developer packs before
Yeah, sure.
explore? But okay, you can see that there are some requirements for the student for claim the student developer pack. So, first of all, you should enroll as a for university as an undergraduate. You should still be a undergraduate. Okay, I think you all are eligible, and Second one is you should have a school verified email, or else you should have identity card, physical identity card. So they will ask about sending a scan copy of that, like that. So others are other two requirements are already, I know you are all 13 years older than 13 years, and all you have GitHub user accounts. So it will be vary that if you ask about the time, it will be vary. It maybe goes 1 or 2 months either. So you just it would better if you merge your school email address to the your GitHub account and claim it, and just wait for some time. So if you go to the student developer pack again, there is GitHub totally supports the undergraduates. Okay, that's why they are giving huge set of tools and some programs like campus experts, and also it supports teaching. Actually, they are facilitating the learning activity, right?
Yeah.
So they are categorized these these tools to some categories which are trending areas in global IT sector. So if we go to the cloud section, uh, we are in industry. Uh, Most of the companies and other institutions are dealing with Microsoft Azure, as well as with you know
Here.
yeah, DigitalOcean. So normally GitHub doesn't give you for a lifetime subscription for any product. So what you can do is you can get a trial time, big time than they are issuing the normal companies issuing. So you can get in, you can manage it in your student life, right? So
So Amna,
in
let
my
me ask
yeah.
you a question. So what's your favorite product in the GitHub student developer pack?
Yeah, it's the first. It is the first one. Can I have used
Yeah,
in
awesome.
yeah.
Like I
I
was gonna
have
say the
subscribed.
same thing.
Yeah, Canva is totally fine because there are hundreds of works can be done. If we going for the Photoshop, we must download all icons and as well
Exactly.
as images, and we should gain some knowledge to edit. So Canva just drag and drop like Flutter. So it's very much easy. Uh, so you can as well as that so in Mali mentioned about the domain, how we can go to the domain. We can go to the domain. We can subscribe to a Namecheap account to, so they are giving us .me for 1 year. So just you can manage your student life with this. So there is some in trend in Sri Lanka that most of undergraduates are trending to form some startups, right? So in that section also we can GitHub developer pack helps us. So similarly, shall we go to the productivity category?
Yeah, sure.
So it's all about some monitoring and collaborating like that. If you are if you have some teams like in university, you can form some teams and doing some freelancing as well as doing some software work. So you can go with like Grovio. It's like a team collaborative platform, and you can monitor code. Okay, you can automate the test cases from this production line, so you can get much productivity on your startups as well. So I hope so you are all the undergraduates, most of the undergraduates doing research. So that's a uh, some tools for research purpose. Can you go for marketing?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So other than security and analysis, category, tools for the research purpose are listed. We can see you can create some forms, create beautiful forms, like you can also simple analytic tools you can find in this category. So just thing is as a last one, shall we go for learning category?
Done.
Yeah. So I am personally believe that investing for the education is the best thing which we can do, or which a government can do. So GitHub knows it as well. So if you are worried about we are not have any Coursera or like that, you don't worry. You can have options. You have alternatives. Okay, you can for these are tools they are giving. So you can subscribe for about 1 year, 6 months. So about 6 months you get your university students, you can gain more knowledge in 6 months, right? So after that you can switch with these there are like 9 or 10 tools inside this. So you can switch
Yeah, definitely.
between this. Don't so we don't want to subscribe all at once. So we are subscribing once at once, right? So like that we can uh, subs- uh, subscribe for the student developer pack. They are estimating like 200k, over 200k US dollars. It means 200,000 US dollars for this pack. I believe that most of these most valuable asset is education thing, rather than some tools. Uh, so just hit the apply button. If you are eligible, if you have an email address or identity card issued by uh, your university. So they are asking to submit your uh, email address as well at first. So it's the thing about developer pack. So do you have any more to add?
Yeah, just one more thing. So the GitHub student developer pack request expires from time to time. See, you can
Yeah.
see first I have applied in 2015 and then 2019, and then I renewed it in 2021 as well. So if this thing expires, you just have to go to this page and request a re-verification, and you have to submit your identity card and some verification document, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, sure. The thing is, if we have a subscribe Canva, they are giving for 1 year. But if
Yeah,
you renew it, we can go for 3 years at 3 times. So no
yeah,
issue with that. So after that, if you are good, you can pay. But they are covering the student life. So after 3 or 4 years, you are out of student, so you can pay and go the subscription. So according to your feedback. So shall we hand over this stuff now?
yeah. Before that, let's try the
Okay.
GitHub pages one more
Yeah,
time
sure.
and see if it has deployed. It's still deploying. So bad, tough luck, guys. Maybe you can grab the link and visit this later on and see it for yourselves. So I think we are done here. Sapna Jaya, back to you.
So Apna, you are on mute.
So sorry. Thanks, Sovin and Amila, for sharing your experience about the developer pack and the benefits that we can gain from the pack. Right? Awesome. So let me hand over to the host Yadu now.
Thank you, Mr. Suvin Nimankar and Amila Gunaratna for doing great work and hope all audience get well understanding on this. Then we are going to have a Q&A session. Yes, this is a time for Q&A session. So you can unmute and ask your questions right now.
So I have to correct one thing. Here you have to ask your questions from the YouTube chat. So let me have Hiranta back. Swin. All right, it's time for answering the questions. So if there are any questions from the audience side, it's time we can answer those. Seems no questions means event went well, right?
No question means maybe they haven't understand uh, everything.
maybe
Either
we
of
can
them.
maybe we can wait for like 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything left to share from our side?
Safnaj, there are some comments in above.
Okay, one question from
Avin.
Avin.
Okay. Significant open source projects. From my side, I was contributing the projects in FOSS Asia, and very few contributions to the other organizations. I have contributed. Maybe I have opened few PRs in Moodle, but yeah, mostly I was contributing to the FOSS Asia.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's from my end. I have been contributing to like JBoss and Scolab's Image Lab project and JBoss projects. So after that, I think mostly it's GitHub community related projects and the events related stuff and yeah, those kind of things.
Okay, in my case, we have initiated a GitHub organization for our campus lit first community. So we have started our official website as an open source project, and we have something called RSVP portal, which is an event management system inside the campus clubs. So I have worked on that project. So
Also, just a quick suggestion, like Suvin's GitHub page is up, I think now. So if
Yeah, it is
anyone,
up.
yeah, can
Sometimes
quickly,
it takes time. Yeah.
yeah, someone can quickly share the screen and like Suvin, maybe you can just do a
Yeah, sure. I can do it once.
because like I just wanted to show them because if you are to develop a personal website or anything like let's say before you search for internships or if you go if you are going to like for an interview or anything like that. So nowadays mostly in the application form itself they ask for your personal website, right? So here's a very good chance of like without wasting your pocket money or without wasting the only few dollars or the bucks you have during your initial life without wasting that on buying a domain and like maintaining tools and all that. You can simply like claim the GitHub education pack as Amila and Suvin mentioned, and you can get whole bunch of like things to like set up your personal website. GitHub pages to host your website and a domain .tech domain which matches actually the industry as well. So your name.tech and that kind of a domain and simply attaching that a unique domain as Shuvin showed to a hosted GitHub page repo. Yeah.
So yeah, my page is now deployed, and you can see your site is published at this URL. Is it that? Yeah, it is working. So like Diluma said, yeah, you guys can spend your free time building something really useful. So let me show you my personal website. So first of all, this is a WordPress site, and the domain is suvin.me, and GitHub developer pack had the free.me domain, and I took it. And also this is hosted on DigitalOcean. Again, GitHub Student Developer Pack has $100 credit for a 12 months time, and I'm still using that. So you guys can try this as well if you want to move something to a elevate your level from the GitHub pages into something like WordPress or maybe Ghost CMS, something like that. You can try that one as well.
Awesome. So we have one question from an audience. If there is only one issue, then can we contribute any projects also? That means
I
that
didn't
means there is
understand
a
the question.
okay. So that means there is an issue, only one issue in a repository. He's asking something like he can still contribute or not.
Yeah, of course it's I'll
Yes.
pick that. Of course it's like both the ways. I think you can create issues if you like, when let's say you are interested in one of the projects, so you install it, you set up it, and you face some issues, and you see the doors where you can improve, and like you see things that you can improve in that project with your experience. So you can of course go ahead and create a issue, and like tag couple of maintenance to like get their feedback, what they thought thinking about that, and like, and always you can have like you can use the issue that particular page to like go back and forth discussions with maintenance and get their idea, and like improve on the thinking pattern related to that project, or the issue that you are trying to fix it. And later when both of the sides are like aligned with particular issue, you can mention, okay, I'll pick this up, and I'll go ahead with the solution. Then you can like use that issue number to link your PR as well. So once you fixed it, it will automatically show, okay, this person has fixed this issue, and this is the PR to that particular issue.
Exactly. If a project is using by people, definitely there should be some issues. Even if you can take VS Code, we are using day to day, right? It has more than 300 500 issues on the current versions. So they will be categorize the issues on which they are going to cover in this which pairs, something like that. So issues are everywhere. So yes, before, if you couldn't find any issues, first, if you find a good project, first clone it and run it. Then you will find what's wrong within it. So then you can create an issue on the repository. So the maintainers will be come and say, okay, this is the actual issue. If not, they will say, okay, this is not the issue, this is how it works, something like that. So then you can start work on it. And the question, so as you guys said at the beginning of the session, the GitHub education project and the GitHub campus expert now not getting
No,
much
no.
exposure in Sri Lanka. Even after I found out about the project, I couldn't get in touch with my expert nor anyone from the project here.
I mean, which project that this you are talking? Other platform, this whole program is maintained by majority of students. So if aren't aware about this.
Yeah.
All right. In simple terms, it seems like he's trying to understand whether he can create a organization for his own university or what. I
Yeah, I also having same thought.
Avin, can you like elaborate bit more on your concern? So maybe you can drop a single line what you want to do. Like we got your question in different ways, so it's better to like get what directly you want to understand.
The whole GitHub campus. Oh, okay. I think he is
Yes.
asking about the GitHub Campus Expert program. I think
And as well as the GitHub education.
program.
Yeah. he's saying they are not aware about GitHub Education and the GitHub Campus Expert program.
Yeah, if that's the case, back then when we were trying also, like none of our universities, I'm pretty sure none of the universities that is located, even the international university is not aware of this.
So yeah,
No, what I'm asking is
like I got to know Campus Expert program and the GitHub Education from Isuraya because back in 2018 he came to my university and did a session about Git. So that's how I know about it.
Yeah,
I think best way to answer this is getting Isuru's feedback, because
Yeah.
Isuru is the first person who faced the issue, because after Isuru became a campus expert, like it's pretty much he passed the word to everyone. So in different
yeah,
events and different ways. So Isuru, like how was it when you were searching for this?
He's the
yeah.
icebreaker.
I got to know about the program from the Twitter. I was following. Actually, after I contributed to Google Summer of Code, I was huge fan of Git and GitHub. So I was following the GitHub Twitter handle, and I got to know that there is a GitHub Campus Expert program managed by GitHub Education. So I followed their documentation. Then I had to do few assignments. Back then there was like 14 or 15 assignments. You have to pick up 5 or 6 assignments, and after that the GitHub education team review your assignments, and you will have to do changes according to their request. And if everything is good, they give you the title GitHub Campus Expert. Yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, just to add on top of Isuru's answer, I would say like the program is pretty much straightforward. Do you once you know about the program, it's a one click and straightforward thing. You apply, and they mainly evaluate like what's your like honest thoughts, whether you are trying to honestly help to the community or improve your community, those kind of things initially, in order to give you access to the program. Once you get into the program, it will be like they will try to improve yourself in different ways, like public speaking to how do you handle events, to how do you present technical stuff, and also like how you manage the communities, because not like in Sri Lanka, like there are communities which is fully focused on gender related discussions, and like there are events like large scale events. Let's say if you take Apple event sort of a thing, so they really take care of the people with disabilities, whether they have access to the content, because there are like well improved communities which is more focusing on the content is accessible to anyone if you are doing an event. So it's sometimes it's not like fully concerned in Sri Lanka, but so those kind of like you will get a global exposure. Have you like being a GitHub campus expertise, you are going to represent a community, so how to do it in a proper way. So that's the fully that's the full course content. And also at the end they will try to evaluate your mindset and whether you have improved yourself during the course and what you followed. And so they will have a short interview to evaluate yourself. And I mean, I felt like you are pretty much interested about what's happening around, and you want to know how to follow up with the tech related opportunities and all that. So I would suggest you to Isuru suggested like he followed Twitter tags, right? Likewise you can like subscribe to RSS feeds, and also you can subscribe to tech blogs. And I would say this Reddit discussion. Sorry, that was my hourly reminder. So Reddit is also something where you can see a lot of discussions, and also I would say engage with the community, open community threads like Gitter channels. Then talk to people and like try to understand what you haven't faced and what they are facing in their countries. So it's you can only achieve that by talking to people and making new friends. Like go out of or go beyond your comfort circles, like try to make friends from other countries. So then you get the benefit of multiple cultures and multiple I would say how multiple different communities working. So then you will get a lot of good news as well, because I know personally, having friends from different communities, we get to hear about job opportunities and things, events that are happening. Even like when we want to find a tech session, like we go ahead and like simply talk to a person whether there's an event or anything. So I would suggest you to follow up with, as Isru mentioned, Twitter, tech related stuff, RSS feeds, and yeah, join a couple of technical Discord channels, as well as GitHub is a good place, and talk to people. That's in highest priority.
Yeah,
We have
actually
a
the
visitor.
yeah actually
So we have
the
one more question. Can we create our own project as well for Hacktoberfest? Shall I pick this?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So yes, you can. If your project is a public one, you can just add a topic as Hacktoberfest to your repository. So you will be eligible. But make sure your contribution should be valid, which means something not like adding a name to a README file. So again, I'm going to repeat the rules of this Open Hack Day. The deadline set to October 31st, where we will be having a leaderboard with some approved organizations, some starting with our GitHub community, GitHub organization from Slitforce, NSBM Force, IIT, and USJ. So you will be having like 2 weeks time to contribute to any of these organizations. So if you found a good project, make sure you contribute. So one of your pull requests got merged, you will get 10 points. So as per the points, the table will be shuffled and move peoples to the top and down, something like this. So after the October 31st, we will pick the top 5 contributors and we will give gifts from GitHub Education team. So that's how this OpenHackDay leaderboard works. And as I said earlier, we will be monitoring the your contributions. That means if you are just adding a README file or something with a simple one to get your pull request merged, so you will be disqualified. We have a special person on the live stream who is the program manager of GitHub Education.
Hello, Johan.
Hi, yeah.
Hey,
All right. So anything we missed? So if
Also,
there are
guys,
no
like
questions,
Safnaz, like
yeah,
maybe you can share the PDF link of Git cheat sheet as well. Like I think we already shared, right?
Yeah,
we
Because
already
already
shared.
started.
we used to distribute this stuff when we were in like when we were doing physical events, but with the current
Mhm.
new normal, it's somewhat hard to pass these physical cards.
Even
And
though
also, like,
Yeah,
this even
yeah, sorry guys, someone
go
is
ahead, Dylan.
talking. Yeah, I was telling, like, don't take this event as the, like, once this event end, it's not going to be like our connection is end with you. So you can always reach out to us via discords or program the projects related issues. So because I would say, like, feel free to engage. So that's how you can uh, take answers to your questions. Yeah.
So that's all from our end. We have our Discord channel. Even though this event is going to end, you can still reach us via this Discord. We have separate channels for this Open Hack Day, and if you want to know more about this Google Summer of Program, you can create a channel there, or else if you want something beyond that, you can always reach us.
Yeah. One more thing, like, if you have a good project suggestion for a community, let's say you have a project suggestion that can like impact on many of our lives, like with this new normal, I'm pretty sure, like, you may be having thousands of new ideas. Don't be shy, or like, don't be shy to talk to us in Discord. Feel free to like discuss about project ideas. Like, if you can open a thread about that project idea after like having back and forth discussions with the community maintainers and all that, if all of us felt it's a good idea that can like make an impact on many people lives, like, we can help you to like create that project and give some publicity to that, and like attract open source contributors. And at the end of the day, you can, like, you can feel great about where your project have reached while contributing to that as well. So yeah, that option also available. So feel free to uh, engage in the Discord channel. Yes.
So that's all from our end. Let me hand over to the host. You are on mute, Yadu.
Sorry. I think all of the questions are being answered, and that's all for the Q&A session. Finally, we are going to wind up this session. Yes, I hope it's the greatest and useful event to our delegates. So, our special thanks goes to our guest speaker and their depth of understanding of our audience, and your ability to present the subject in such an interesting way produced one of the most greatest event in GitHub community history. And I would like to express my another big thanks to all of you who generally helped us make this event come together to become success. And please don't forget to give your feedback that is providing in the chat box. And also during the next years, you will be learning the difficult initiatives through our planned activities. Don't miss the chance, my dears. And last but the not least, I want to convey thanks for giving this opportunity to GitHub communities. Cheers.